The Aaron Bushnell situation, the Air Force member who lit himself on fire and later passed away, is becoming rather complex. And there's really two sides of the story here. On one side, many people are praising him, calling him a martyr, a hero. What he did was a good thing. But on the other side of the story, you have things being uncovered about Aaron, being a part of rather heinous Reddit groups where he himself posted on a Reddit group mocking the death of military members, mocking Jesus Christ, saying F you and mocking religion in general. And a lot of people are scratching their heads and asking, how could the Air Force not see this coming, and how could the US military give this guy a security clearance? So in this video, we're going to start uncovering things that are coming out about Aaron and talk about both sides of the story here, and then we will wrap up with how did the Air Force not see this coming, because there's going to be a ton of investigations. Now, the first thing I want to say is this: I think it's very important to be transparent with all of you and the audience. Even though Aaron does say F Jesus Christ, as a Christian myself, I do forgive him, and I feel bad for anyone, and I mean anyone, who feels the need to have to take their life. But at the end of the day, it's very, very difficult to also feel bad for somebody who was okay with mocking the death of US military members, especially when in the US military you are willing to risk your life, not only for your fellow brothers and sisters, but to defend the United States as well. So let's go ahead and talk about all of the Reddit stuff and the things that are being uncovered about Aaron. If you are unaware, Aaron was involved with a lot of anarchy groups, anti-America groups, hating of religion and things like that. Now, this is the Reddit post that's going rather viral and really not making Aaron look too great. This is the Reddit post that he actually posted on the ACAB Reddit, and that Reddit page is called All Cops Are Bastards. Now, based off that name, I'm sure you can already gauge what that Reddit group is all about. But as far as this Reddit post right here, again, on that Reddit page from Aaron, this was the announcement of the 3 Army soldiers who passed away. And Aaron seemed to be okay with posting this and essentially mocking it as well. In fact, one of the Reddit comments was, "Does this sub consider military to be cop?" And Aaron responded with, "I certainly do. The cops are the domestic military and the military is the international police. They are bad for the exact same reasons. Their job is to enforce the will of the ruling class with violence." And again, continuing Aaron's post, now I don't want to show you guys the name of this Reddit, but you can go ahead and do your own research if you don't believe me. You can actually find Aaron's Reddit username. Now, I will warn you, a lot of Reddit moderators are deleting everything Aaron did on their pages because obviously they either don't want to be involved with an FBI investigation or Homeland investigation, but he wrote some rather disgusting things, but a lot of things have been screenshot and captured for the world to see. This post right here is, of course, the mocking of Jesus Christ, Christianity. And look, if you are a US military member, you know the rules. You cannot be involved with groups like this, especially groups that help hone your anarchy skills or are a-okay with mocking religion. Now, the thing is this: when you live in the United States, you pretty much can almost say whatever you want. Within certain parameters and guidelines, and I think you're smart enough to know that, but when you are in the US military, there are very strict guidelines of things you can and can't do. One of them being being involved with anarchy groups or any sort of group that could involve violence, or especially the hate speech of religion. And there are more and more Reddit posts out there that, once again, you can go ahead and dig into. But the main point of this video is to show you that one side of the story where a lot of people are starting to see the real side of Aaron, the underground side of Aaron, where he was in the Air Force yet was totally okay with bashing the United States, bashing religion, and essentially honing in on his skills for anarchy. And look, this is not an exaggeration. I mean, Aaron posted and said some really disgusting things, and to me, once you post the mocking of US military members, that to me is means for that is disgusting. Now, before we talk about how was Aaron able to get away with all of this, are people not paying attention to him? Again, is there an investigation going on? Let us talk about the other side of the story where people are supporting Aaron's actions. Again, there is a lot of support in the pro-Palestinian side of things where people are saying Aaron is a hero, rest in peace Aaron, hero, and stuff like that. I mean, even on my own videos on TikTok, you have have loads of comments saying, good job, Aaron, you did the right thing. And you even have the Hamas group's Telegram saying, putting out a very public statement how they praise Aaron. They're very proud of Aaron. In fact, the Pentagon was even pressed on this and was asked, are there other Aarons out there where we're going to expect the taking of your own life in support of a movement? And look, this is a rather complex issue and situation because obviously we have an airman who was not in the right mindset. Whenever you are willing and able to take your own life, especially in uniform, and especially doing it on a live stream and saying the things he was saying, obviously there were some issues there. And again, this is why this situation is so complex and why the discussion is so broad. Some people are saying we are now going into, are we weaponizing mental health? Or are we not taking mental health serious enough even within the active duty military force? Because typically we equate the taking of your own life with the veteran community, but this time we have it in the case of an active duty military member being in the Air Force. Now, the Air Force has already put out a statement that investigations are being conducted, but that is protocol with anything of this sort. However, this case is rather prominent, and whenever you have a group like Hamas praising him, and then you have all of these things being uncovered with Reddit, there are going to be a ton of investigations, not only into his social media usage, but also probably the social media usage of the people around him, and some of his leadership will definitely possibly be getting in trouble. The reason why I say this is because the US military is extremely, and I mean extremely big on what's called policing your battle buddy. Essentially, this means that everyone should be checking on one another, and if one person knew that Aaron was not in the right mindset, that person will probably be getting in trouble. And if you don't believe me, just go ahead and ask the last airman who is so okay with abusing his security clearance, also in the intelligence category of the Air Force, posting a ton of classified information on Discord, and his bosses knew about his mental health status. A lot of them got fired, and a lot of them will not be conducting operations in the Air Force anymore. So again, for anyone who's ever served, to include myself, it's not that far-fetched to think that many people are going to be getting in trouble, or at the very least, getting a stern talking to. And again, I was trying to do some more research from the military perspective of what Aaron did. There seems to be a split. On one side, many people are rather disgusted, of course, of the Reddit post and also doing this action in uniform because like I had mentioned before, and I don't think a lot of people are able to grasp this notion, just because you are pro a certain movement, you are not allowed to do those actions in a military uniform. A lot of negative attention is coming to the US military, and whether or not you agree with it and you could care less, that is what's happening. All of the headlines, it's not Aaron did this, it's Aaron who was a part of the US Air Force. And again, very minute things like Aaron did it in government property, thus it's destruction of government property, but I find that to be so irrelevant, but I'm just putting it out there that coming from the military perspective, people are saying like, a lot of things have been built up here where it's almost inexcusable for what Aaron did, regardless if he was super passionate about a belief. So again, like I had mentioned, the Air Force is doing an active investigation on this, and I'm sure a lot more is going to be uncovered. I do find it rather interesting that Reddit moderators are deleting as much as they can. I would assume so that a lot of attention is not coming their way, but unfortunately for the Reddit moderators, a lot of public attention is on them. So again, I do want to finish with this. I understand that there is one side that is super pro-Palestine, and they are super pro, do whatever it takes to get eyes on this conflict. But I simply cannot justify ever taking your own life. To me, I find life to be so valuable, and I think a majority of people do. Even on the Palestinian side, I don't want to justify, or I don't want to categorize many people are being totally okay with this. There are actually a lot of pro-Palestinian people saying, this was not right, there was obviously some mental issues here, and I don't think that Aaron should have done this. But again, I'm just putting it out there that a lot of people, though, are okay with Aaron doing this who were pro-Palestinian. I mean, I don't think that is out of the question to say that. Again, I'm the type of person who likes to say it as it is and put it out there as it is, and I love for you guys to have your own opinion and look into the facts. To me, this is a rather complex situation where you have an active duty military member who is okay with taking his own life, but he did it because he was so passionate about a certain conflict, which is rather devastating, and there are a lot of disgusting things that are happening because of this conflict. So again, for myself, do I feel bad for Aaron? Yes. And for his families? Yes, of course. But again, when you start to dig into Aaron's past, where he's a-okay with disgracing Jesus Christ and a-okay with being disgusted with religion and being okay with mocking the death of U.S. military members, that to me is rather inexcusable, and it's rather disgusting, especially when you serve in the U.S. military and you are so willing to mock the people who would probably risk their own lives for you, Aaron. So again, this is a very odd situation, and I'm sure there was a lot more to come. Thank you for being here, and I will keep reporting on this so long that I feel comfortable doing it, because it is weird for me to talk about somebody who's not here, but it's so prominent in the media right now. There are so many conversations going on that I feel the need to have to report it and give you guys an insight or discussion into the topic.